What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. I was just about to head to bed, and right before I was about to log off, I saw some information being posted on Twitter. I saw some posts in the subreddit Discord about a brand new batch of characters. Well, I guess it's not really a batch. We got a solo legend here in Legend Pika. And the thing is he is not alone. We'll talk more about it. You guys can probably see it on the thumbnail and stuff. We'll get to it, but we got Legend Pika debuting, and he is going to be a Pirate Rumble legend. So it means in Rumble, he's only going to be 20 costs. So keep that in mind when we go through his abilities here. Shout out to Evan on Twitter for giving us like full details of all the character gimmicks, which, as I said, we're going to go through in today's video. Alongside him, they're debuting this. Doflamingo. Now look, you can see he's a 6-star plus. He's a strength unit driven slasher. This is the super evolution of the V3 Doflamingo, who debuted alongside V3 Katakuri during the celebration that we had quite a while back, where it was like the Enemies of Luffy celebration, which I guess is kind of fitting, as, you know, we had the Enemies of Zoro celebration going on right now. What I would love to see is that for the upcoming Kizuna Clash, we get a super evolution of the Katakuri that came out around the same time as Doflamingo. That would be hype as hell. Gotta say, artwork for this guy looks amazing, and his abilities seem pretty solid too. But the big kicker right here. He's debuting on a Sugo Fest with Pika. Now, they've done this in the past with characters where we have a super evolution that debuts on a Sugo Fest. Most of the time when they do this, it means that it's going to be another paywalled character. Characters like Vivi and Rebecca, who we only just got now when we actually received it in December. The waifus, they're going to be coming in May for the first time for people to pick up. You know, we had Halloween Perona do the same thing. We had the Super Tandem Luffy do the same thing. And we don't have confirmation in-game yet, but I would go as far as to say that this Doflamingo will be treated the same way because, I mean, history usually repeats itself in terms of Treasure Cruise terms, so I would expect Doflamingo to likely do the same thing. Which, I freaking hate it, man. It's so stupid. Like, the fact that they paywall these Super Evolution characters, it just feels so bad. It legitimately is one of the worst decisions that Treasure Cruise has done over the past few years. They've made plenty of bad decisions, we get that, but paywalling these super evolutions, it just is terrible. It really is. And a lot of the time, paywalling the super evolutions just isn't worth it. Like, in terms of the value and the power of these paywalled legends, it's not worth it. It really isn't. So I don't get why they do it. I guess it's like FOMO, I guess, but it's just dumb. Anyways, let's get to the abilities. Let's have a look at Pika. Pika is a driven fighter. He's a strength unit. He's meant to work with Doflamingo in PvP. The text here is quite small, so I'll try and zoom in as much as I can. So the text here, it says for Pika's captain ability, he will say at the start of the adventure, will give -1 turn of cooldown, and the attack of driven characters is increased by 4.75 times, which is really not a big multiplier, and then also gives them 2.25 times health, which is a very big multiplier in terms of HP. So a ton of HP. A lot of Pika characters have done this in the past. They have like crazy amounts of HP, and they don't give as much attack. So there are ways you can kind of abuse this ability. And it says when the crew uses a special to give a base attack boost or a chain coefficient buff, which I guess is a chain addition. I don't know if chain, I'm pretty sure it's going to be chain addition. It mentions addition. So chain addition or coefficient increase. So I assume that's chain multiplicative buff. You extend it by 1 turn. So not a great captain ability, let's be real. It's a Rumble unit, so he does not have super type, super class, which sucks. Potential abilities doesn't seem that great either. Let's move on to the special, 15 turn max cooldown, where it says it's going to do typeless damage to all enemies equal to 120 times his attack. So damage dealing special is good. And then it says negates all beneficial effects on the crew and then allows the crew to receive an increased attack effect up to 2 times when the special move is activated. So I'm pretty sure this means like you can get an attack boost and you can buff it twice, or if it's worded really weirdly, so the translation is a little rough. However, it could also mean like you can get like 2 attack buffs at the same time, very similar to what like Legend Lilith does. I'm pretty sure it's like you can get attack buff twice would be my guess. And then it says, increases the effect of value by an additional 1.4 times up to a maximum of 4 times the effect value in brackets. So it looks like if you have an attack buff, you can actually multiply the attack buff by 1.4. So if we pull up a calculator real quick, let's say hypothetically we have a 3 times attack boost. If you multiply by 1.4, it's a 4.2 bonus, but it says a maximum of 4. So essentially, if you have a 4 times bonus divided by 1.4, meaning if you have at least a 2.85 times bonus from an attack boost, then Pika's special can actually like enhance it up to a 4 times bonus. So I think in most cases, to get close to that would be like a 2.75 times multiplier multiplied by 1.4. Buffing it up to a 3.85 is pretty crazy, right? So this special can definitely be strong. It says nullifies all attacks for 1 turn, so it gives your team 1 turn of damage immunity. That also can be quite valuable. And then it says triples damage dealt to delayed and weakened enemies for 1 turn. Just give a 3 times conditional boost. Like, we don't see 3 times conditional boost very often. The only other character that comes to mind that gives a 3 times conditional boost is the New Year's Legend Luffy that we got that just came by. Crazy, right? And then this one reduces the special cooldown of Don Quixote Doflamingo by 14. So any Doflamingo on your crew just gets minus 14 turns of cooldown, because why not? And it says the special move turn reduction effect of the giant, basically his special, can only be used once during an adventure. So the effect to give cooldown to Dofi can only be performed once, but if you launch his special again, you get basically all of the other effects. So Pika's special, to be honest, is actually not that bad. It seems actually pretty solid. It's just you're not really going to use him as a captain, but seems like a pretty viable sub in some very interesting circumstances. Of course, we don't have the support effect to have a look at. We can't see his potential, his crewmate abilities, but I'm assuming he's going to have the ability to resist blowaway, would be my guess. And then this looks like to be some statistical increase. We'll see. Let's move on to his PvP abilities. So he is classified as a debuff style unit in PvP. Really cool looking sprite, of course. And his Rumble ability will give an increase of attack to Driven and Fighters by 6, a defense buff by level 6, and a speed increase by level 6. And then when there are 6 or more Driven or Fighter characters on your crew, then it decreases the defense of all enemies by level 6 and their speed by level 6. This is a very, very good Rumble ability. Remember that in Pirate Rumble, this character will be a 20 cost character. You can see it right there, 20 cost. So having a 20 cost character that has a Rumble ability like this is quite good. But you'd have to think about it right in terms of you're going to be building a Driven or a Fighter team with this guy. Now, Fighters don't have a lot going for them, so depending on the special, this could be good. Driven, of course, is going to be quite nice as well. Driven have quite a lot of good options recently that have come out, so could be a potential use for him. So the special ability is only 26 CT, which is very respectable. 100% chance to halve the attack of 3 enemies with high attack for 20 seconds. 100% chance to halve the defense of 3 enemies with high defense for 20 seconds. When there are 6 or more fighters or driven, 80% chance to paralyze all enemies, which is a pretty redundant effect. And it also says large range allies receive a shield level 4 for 20 seconds. So it means that the shield that he gives is only to allies within a large range. So there are chances where he launches this and your characters just don't get it. But being able to inflict these debuffs, as well as also getting a shield, is quite good. The paralysis, I'm not really the biggest fan of. So he's fine. I think he's a perfect okay unit. The fact that he doesn't do damage is a big thing as well. So the way that I see it is that if you are going to use Pika on your team, you definitely don't use him as a bench unit. You want him on the front line because he's going to basically debuff the opponents with this ability. Being able to give passively level 6 defense and level 6 speed decrease to all enemies is very good. And then also having the ability to potentially halve enemy attack, halve enemy defense, and then also give a shield, making your crew survive longer. Even though he's classified as a debuff style unit, which he does do that, you can almost classify him as a supporter, right? He's an interesting unit to say the least. He's fine. I think he's a perfectly balanced unit. Nothing too crazy. He has some unique abilities, especially with the special, but I wouldn't go out of my way to go crazy deep in a banner to try and pull for this guy. So that's all I have to really say about Pika. Let's pivot now and have a look at Doflamingo. So yeah, this is confirming once again that this is this Doflamingo that is going to be super evolving into this guy. You need 5 of his skulls. At this current point in time, we don't know where we acquire these skulls, which is why I'm assuming at this point it's going to be a paywalled legend. And if that is the case, then that sucks. But I really hope that there's going to be some kind of event surrounded by it. That's what they should do. I don't mind if they paywall the legends, so long as there is an actual way to acquire them throughout the month in some capacity. I would love them to do that, where they have, a guaranteed 6+ every month for Kizuna, and then a secondary 6+ that comes out every single month, and you have to farm the events throughout the month to acquire the skulls, and at the end of the month, boom, you can super evolve them and you get 2 super evos per month. That would be a perfect way to do it if they want to go down the route of paywalling, but the fact that we have to wait so long, and then there's not even an event to farm these skulls up, really, it's just the normal typical way to get them, which is through Kizuna Clash. Just overall, I just hate this whole thing. Anyways, no real changes here. His 13 turn cooldown, don't remember if it was 13 before, but still pretty good. Let's have a look at the captain ability. So this is the base level. So as soon as you super evolve him, you're going to get these abilities. We'll have a look at the level limit break stuff a little bit later. So the captain ability, 5.25 times attack, 3.75 times attack to everyone else that is not a driven character. Reduces, it gives 1.3 times HP, and then driven characters get dex and quick slots as matching, and then reduce 10 turns of special bind as a captain. Pretty good overall. Not really much change. It's essentially the same captain, just with bigger numbers to the attack. That's all I really see personally. Moving on to the special. It will do 300 times his attack in typeless damage to all enemies, converts all slots including block into matching, and then it recovers 30% of your max HP. If the crew already has an orb boost when you launch the special, driven characters get 1,250 base attack for 2 turns, and a 1.5 times chain addition for 2 turns. This base attack and chain coefficient addition effect is not affected by enemy or ally cancellation effects. Ooh, that's really cool. That is a nice change. He didn't do that before. Now, it says, in order to get the base attack and the chain, you need to have an orb boost. And it says, if you don't have an orb boost, then it says, driven characters get a 2.5 times attack and orb boost for 2 turns that cannot be removed by enemy or your own effects. That's so good. So they've actually made him quite a lot better in terms of the base form. What I will say is that the special is essentially the same. I believe the healing, I don't remember if the healing always happened before. I think that the healing had to be, it was like in the conditional effect, but it looks like it's just going to be the base form here. I don't remember correctly. But one thing is that before, in order to receive the base attack boost and the orb boost, the base attack and the chain and stuff, I don't even remember if he did chain before. I remember the base attack was a thing, but in order to get that, you need to have an orb boost. In his base form, you needed to have an attack and an orb boost in order to get this additional buff, if my memory serves me correctly. So they've made the condition easier to achieve by just needing an orb boost, and then it says otherwise you'll get the 2.5 times attack and orb boost that can't be removed. So if you have some type of way to launch your special twice to get all of these buffs that can't be removed, it is pretty strong. But of course, you have a character such as Pika. His special ability has the ability to give Doflamingo 14 turns of cooldown, which makes sense, right? So that's the base special, but he doesn't really have like a lot of utility going on. It's mainly just give you damage, which is not always valuable. So we'll see. He does have super class, which is good, and it says you need to have one or more of the following units, which is who is this? Shachino de Linois. I don't know who this is. Okay, I'm pretty sure that is that. I'm not too sure who that is, but you got Law. It's probably Monkey D. Luffy, maybe. You got Diamante. Yeah, it's Luffy. It's definitely Luffy. My bad. It's Luffy. You got Law, Diamante, Pika. Basically, all of the big Doflamingo pirates. You got Kaido as well. I don't remember if Kaido was on the list before. And Caesar Clown or Gangsta Gastino, of course. Or when a support effect is activated by an enemy action, which is similar to Hawkins, the V1 Hawkins. So if you have like hypothetically Luffy's on your crew and you trigger Rayleigh support, when you trigger the Rayleigh support, it will then count as the condition to activate your super class effect. The effect here does damage, which is good because you can use it to wave clear. It reduces the cooldown of driven and slashes by 2, and then you get super driven. It's a pretty good effect. It's solid, right? He does have the cooldown reduction potential ability, so you can use his special really fast in content, which I really do like. So overall, like, yeah, slightly bigger numbers just across the board. He doesn't really get that much, but we'll continue on because it does get a little bit better. Let's actually just jump into the level limit break stuff first before we look at Rumble. So this is the fully buffed captain ability here. So first of which, it gives -1 cooldown, slashes, and driven now get 5.5 times attack. So now he gives slashes the buff, which is a pretty big change. and everyone else gets 3.75 times attack, 1.3 HP. Dex and quick slots are going to be matching, 10 turns of special bind, and also when the attack increase or orb boost increase is activated, extended by 1 turn, meaning that if you use his special, you can actually get 3 turns of attack and orb boost. Massive buff for him, especially because they can't be removed by the enemy. Huge increase there. And then the fully buffed special ability, it is actually cut off at the bottom, so you can't see the full ability here. So you never know, because the attack and orb boost from his special might actually be increased, which is actually going to make him a lot better. So it does do the damage, full board of matching slots, and the addition with his level limit break is it removes 6 turns of paralysis. So again, like I like that they do that. Just give him a little piece of utility there. You get the HP recovery. If you have an orb boost, then you get ambition, so driven and slashes. You get 1500 base attack for 2 turns, which is much better. The chain is also increased to 1.8 for 2 turns. Otherwise, the attack power of driven and slasher characters is increased. It says plus 75. I'm assuming this means 2.75, and the shadow of the slots is increased by plus 100. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but what we do know is that it's going to be essentially the same thing, just with bigger numbers and paralysis, which is good. So the level limit break invested version of Dofi is far superior for sure, which is no real surprise. It's a decent unit overall, but to paywall a legend like this is crazy work from Bandai. Finally, before we wrap up, let's have a look at the Rumble stuff. Really cool sprite, by the way. So in Rumble, he gives Strength Allies level 5 attack. He gives level 5 HP, increases their speed by level 5, decreases stamina of Dex enemies by level 4. Stamina usually means HP. Decreasing enemies' HP is kind of a weird one, so that's interesting. Increases the speed at which, so special CT increase for essentially Doflamingo pirates, Don Quixote pirates by level 2, that's whatever. And then the special ability, he does have Super Rumble special upon Super Evolution here. So the base special reduces attack power of enemies in a large range by level 8, deals 3 times damage, and then if you have 40% or more HP, he does 2 times attack to 1 enemy with the most HP remaining that ignores defense, so actually a pretty decent special. And then he has the Super Rumble, which allows you to do just more damage, is what it is. It's just simply more damage. And then if you have the full investments, his Super Rumble special actually targets 2 enemies for the damage through defense. That's a big deal. Because this is quite an old character at this point. A lot of veteran players would have this guy at level limit break 5. So being able to have access to this kind of power in a Super Rumble special is quite good. It's very easily activatable as well. So he might actually see some niche play. The only real thing is that the fact that he's a strength unit is interesting. I don't know, because if you want to use it with Pika, like Pika buffs driven fighter, this guy buffs strength, so it means you still need to run a full strength driven or strength fighter team, which is kind of weird with Dofi, but I think that this guy might see some play. The only real issue is that strength is so good right now in terms of their offense. I think it's going to be hard to actually fit him in a team, because you've got characters like, Kuma, you've got the Luffy characters, you've got potentially Kobe, you've got Blackbeard, you've got Jack. There's so many good characters on strength. Christmas Uta. I don't know if this guy even makes it on the squad, but he seems good. If you don't have one of those units, you could just chuck him on. He'll do good damage. He'll be a pretty good asset to your team. It is what it is, yeah? Anyways, that is pretty much going to be it. That is the breakdown of the new Doflamingo and Pika characters. Very, very left field. Weren't really expecting a new Super Evolution tonight, that is for sure. Anyways, it's going to wrap it up from me. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.